This is a wild bird seed mix that's been designed by the RSPB, and it's meant to really benefit the corn bunting, which was a farmland bird, which was kind of dying out, and we're trying to help bring it back. And so this seed mix tries to do two things, and that's provide a seed, a food source for the winter in oats and barley, but it also tries to, in the summer right now, encourage invertebrates and pollinators, which is what farmland birds feed their chicks when they're nesting. I'm Andrew Whiteford. I'm a tenant farmer. I'll be fourth generation tenant farmer. You're getting about 20 to 25% of the farm is in conservation, and it's mostly for farmland birds. Oats, barley, triticale, and this is really a winter, for the winter, that's for their food. And this is Phacelia, a flowering plant that the bees love, pollinators love this. I like to try and integrate as much conservation into the farm as possible while still being productive. The idea is you're building a mosaic of habitat and wildlife corridors and safe spaces for wildlife.
Every year, RSPB is spending about £10,000, and we're using that to buy enough seed to cover approximately about 60 hectares of the habitat that you've seen today. So 60 rugby pitches, if you like. The corn bunting's a seed-eating bird. Chicks feed on insects, but when it comes into the winter months, it really needs a lot of seed in its environment to sustain it over the winter. So a lot of the traditional sources of seed in these landscapes have been lost over the years, just through changes in technology and farming practices. So what we're doing here, and those plots that we've looked at, are making these really concentrated areas on farms where we've got loads of pollen and nectar, as you've seen, for lots of invertebrates and pollinators. And crucially, when we come into the autumn and winter, we've got lots of cereal crops like oats and barley and wheat, and that provides this glut of seed to sustain the corn buntings and other birds over the winter months.
My name's Will Cresswell, and I live in Crail. Ever since I moved here about 23 years ago, I have been counting corn buntings. I get on my bike with my dog every day in the summer, and I cycle around the beautiful East Neuk, every little track, every bit of farmland, and I record the corn buntings singing. Then when you locate sort of nesting territories, we then watch them. Hopefully you're going to see them feeding chicks, producing fledglings. So it's basically a lot of bird watching. When I first started counting the corn buntings, my little bit of area around Crail, and we total up the numbers each year, the population was bumping around 90, 100 territories. But about 2006, they started to increase a little bit, and that more or less coincident with the RSPB getting involved and talking to a few farmers and getting them to increase those margins, those little bits of management that help corn buntings along. And so initial slow increase, so 2010 to 2015 might be really exciting because we're up to 135 or 150 territories. But since 2015, they've really ramped up. And this year I had 459 territories. And I'm not estimating, I counted every single one of them. The success and what the RSPB is doing fundamentally here is just gently changing the culture through conservation conversations. Around the world, conservation successes are less to do with the science and they're more to do with the conversations, the respect, and just people feeling good about it. And this is a feel-good story, and people want to get involved in it. And hopefully that's the memo we send out in the wider countryside to other farmers around the edges, changing the habitat, and the corn buntings will follow.
To deliver nature conservation for most species, it's absolutely critical for us all to be speaking to one another, talking about the priorities in terms of species and habitats in different areas, and understanding different people's motivations. And we can all come together around that and then start to think about what we can do, where, and what the opportunities are. And with that consensus and with that trust and understanding of where each other's coming from, that's when hopefully we can go off and support farmers, and farmers support us as well, deliver our objectives. We can access funding, as we've seen here, and we know we've got the enthusiastic body of land managers to deliver the conservation work.
You're producing food and trying to minimise the impact on the earth, I guess, at the same time, and it's a really hard balance to strike. It's an impossible problem to solve year in, year out. And when someone just comes and says, "Oh, we've had a lasting impact on local wildlife," that's a wonderful story, isn't it? I mean, it's a great feeling.